Hello Newburgh, it's Pastor Steve here with our Monday Minute for March the 7th of 2022. It's good to be back with you this week as we've begun now the season of Lent. I want to remind you that throughout the season of Lent we have our devotional book available for you. If you have not picked yours up, there are still some copies at the Welcome Center, and it is still plenty of time to catch up. We're working with Walter Brueggemann's book called A Way Other Than Our Own, Daily Devotions for Lent, and we will be hosting a discussion group with yours truly every Tuesday at 7 p.m. That'll be here in the church and also available online for folks to participate in as well. We're not calling this a study because we are wanting people to use this as their own devotional time and then reflect upon some of the things that they are seeing and hearing and reading and give that us as a Lenten discipline so that we can share together every Tuesday. And I look forward to doing that with you starting tomorrow night. Now, I wanted to take today's Monday Minute to share a little bit about some recent developments in the United Methodist Church. Late last week, it was decided that the General Conference, originally scheduled for 2020, postponed until 2021 due to COVID, then postponed again until this year, later this summer, early fall of 2022, again due to COVID. Now, while we here in the United States are experiencing somewhat of a recovery and learning and figuring out how to live with this virus while minimizing it as well, there are still many places across the world that do not have the access to the vaccines like we do not have access to other resources like we do, particularly in our central conferences in Africa. And so the decision was made that there would not be a general conference this year or next year, and it will be postponed all the way until 2024. Now, the reason I am bringing this up is because that has implications for us here at Newburgh and also implications for the larger United Methodist Church. What you may not know is that for the last several years, the United Methodist Church has been locked in a battle, so to say, over the issue of inclusion of LGBTQ persons in the full life of the church, ranging anywhere from pastors being allowed to marry same-gender couples, or even all the way up to ordination of what we call a self-avowed practicing homosexual in our Book of Discipline. And in that struggle, an agreement was reached that in 2020, we would continue on as the United Methodist Church, but with a new focus, removing many of those restrictions. That was the plan anyway. The other part of that plan was for another group who felt that they just could not do that with integrity, could not support the ordination of gay pastors, perform weddings and the like, that they would go and form their own separate denomination. And the details would be worked out at the 2020 General Conference. However, that has not come to pass, and for good reason. Our top priority is to make sure that everyone is staying safe. It was also announced that the Global Methodist Church, which is the new denomination that would emerge of those folks who are not going to be supporting that full inclusion, they're going to go ahead anyway. And they're going to start on May 1st officially of this year, regardless of what the General Conference has said. Now, for us here at Newburgh, that may not have a lot of implications. Newburgh, in late 2019, officially became a reconciling congregation. We've had a welcoming statement that shows that we are open and affirming to all people long before that. But we took that next step in light of previous General Conference decisions, that we would be a full reconciling congregation and be a part of this new United Methodist Church that is going to be emerging after a General Conference. However, in the meantime, it means that restrictions on pastors like myself and restrictions are already in place, stay in force, even if they're not fully enforceable. And so for a lot of people, it seems like a delay and a delay of justice and a delay of grace and openness. But in the same token, it's an opportunity for us as well. an opportunity for us to re-examine what we truly believe as United Methodists, how we are going to follow the Wesleyan understanding of grace into this new decade here, and how that's going to shape the United Methodist Church in the future. Splits are never a good thing. In this case, we use a church word called schism for that, where one group breaks off from the other. However, in the same token, if there are those who in their conscience cannot do such things, it is probably best that they go off on their own and be able to do the things that they are called to do. Not while tearing down what is remaining here of the large majority of the United Methodist Church, but to simply build up what they need to do so we can build up what it is that we need to do. These delays may not affect us in our everyday lives, but for other members of our church and other folks who are seeking a church, it can affect them in great ways. So I think one of the disciplines we can adopt here in this season of Lent is to reach out with compassion and to let everyone know that we as Newburgh United Methodist Church, but also that the United Methodist Church itself is moving towards a more inclusive stance. Yes, procedure and politics are getting in the way, but that also is not stopping folks here in the Michigan Conference or Newburgh Church from doing the things that we need to do to make sure that all people know they're welcome and can fully participate in the life of the church. I would ask you during this season and during this time to be in prayer for our church. Prayer for discernment, prayer for wisdom, prayer for those who are deciding to leave for various reasons, and prayer that God's will be made known and revealed to us and made clear for all of us to see in the coming days and weeks. Hopefully during this season of Lent, things will become much clearer for us in the coming days and weeks as we follow on that path that we all are seeking that leads us towards a better understanding of Jesus Christ. We'll look forward to seeing you back here next week for another edition of the Monday Minute. Until then, stay safe, and we hope to see you on Tuesday night as we have our discussion group through our Lenten devotionals together. God bless.